guys, welcome to my channel. I just want to wish everybody a very belated Happy New Year. I know it's like the middle of January already. I don't know what happened. I thought this would be a nice time of year though to just show you a little journal flip through. So I've got one journal here that I was working on from about April to December last year. If you've been following my channel, welcome. And if you don't know me, my name is Alyssa. I am an artist in Perth, Western Australia. I'll just show you the journal that I'm going to be flipping through. It's actually like an A4 size. And the pages, one thing I love about this one, the pages are flat, which is nice, and they're really well bound. And the paper is quite thick. This is an Art Gecko brand, which is a British brand, I think, from the UK. And yeah, it's been really nice to work on. I've really loved working on it. I've probably used my Jo Sonjas mostly in this, but I'll talk about it more in the video, I guess. And I have one identical, which is at smaller scale. And I tend to take that one out with me when I go out and about. So it's very scratchy. Sometimes I use paint and work on it with paint, but mostly the smaller one I use Inktense pastels or Inktense pencils, and because they're easy to take out with me. So I had that one going as well. As well as that, I've got another one which is a lot cheaper. It's thinner paper, and I'm not finished this one yet because there's a lot of pages. I've got a few, actually. Yeah, I've got a few pages left in this one, and the pages are quite thin, so it's a different experience, I guess, working on it. So this is a more of like a scratchy journal that I take with me as well. And I usually like to use work on a larger size as well. So I have an A3 journal that I work on as well. So I've always got a few on the go. Anyway, I hope you enjoy this video, and I hope this year finds you well, and I just encourage everyone to keep creating. This is quite a long video. It's a good one to just grab a cuppa and have in the background me rambling and about my artwork. And I hope you, just paint along with me if you feel the inspiration to do so. I think it's always good to have, I guess, company in a way when you create. I find that anyway. And just that encouragement too, because I always try and paint loose, and I'm always trying to just be really intuitive in many ways in what I create. So sometimes it's nice to have that and to have that permission to sort of be a little bit childlike and whimsical in our artwork. We can get a little bit bogged down as adults. So anyway, I hope that you enjoy, and I'm going to stop rambling and I will see you in the next one, and God bless. Bye. Okay, hopefully that is clear. My camera was like really foggy. I just had to wipe it down and it's all good. So this is just looking at my sketchbook that I started it in April 2024, and so I'm just going to show you through it, and I haven't written anything down, so I'm kind of like just talking about it off the cuff, as it were. So this page I did recently. It was just a lot of gold paint, and basically just that flat matte acrylic paint with some of the Neo colours, just the Neo colour ones. So they're not water soluble, and I tend to use them quite a bit. So I was just kind of having fun with mark making, because you can kind of see little pockets here where I've done mark making, and I just wanted to fill absolutely every page. So that was my quest, I guess. This one I started off in a bit of a dreamlike space, and so loosely attached to a dream. I think the two figures in the back and the idea of that big expansive room. Often in dreams we have different rooms that show up, and I think that I don't think I'm alone in this. Sometimes it's very hard to describe the environment that we find ourselves in dreams, and so I always think it's really interesting to try and attempt to draw them, even though they're not going to be exactly what you dreamed. You sort of, sometimes you can just capture the feeling of what the dream was. So I feel like it's interesting that I'm already starting to talk about dreams. So obviously this is where I'm very drawn to at the moment. I really find my greatest inspiration from my dreams. This was earlier in the year, and I probably did a mini sketchbook tour and showed these portraits to you, just using the Jo Sonja acrylic paint. This is of my beautiful mum and my beautiful auntie. And the old photos are just, I don't know, they're just lovely, aren't they? When you go back over photos from the 40s and 50s and 60s and even photos from the 70s, they've got such a lovely quality about them that we don't seem to capture when we use our phones, I guess. This was based on Kevin and myself. We went on a trip to Nannup, and that would have been in April, and it was just based on a photo, so I changed the figure in it, and I think it was a photo of me wearing a white dress, but I changed the figure and I put a blue dress and just had a little bit of fun with it. I think really enjoying these paints on paper, particularly because, I don't know, they've just got a beautiful quality on paper. Mainly because the pages don't stick together. This one is a study that I did of Matisse painting, and it is a bit of a mess. I don't like it at all. I don't like the colours, and I don't like the marks, and I think it's too busy. But, you know, it's interesting. I think every now and again it's interesting to do something from, you know, a study from a famous painting. And this was a meditation that I did. I've got a video on this little picture here. On the main point of it was about the meditation, I think, if I remember correctly. But yeah, I do have a video on this particular art activity. I don't really like the painting all that much, but I think the point of it was a meditation. So I think I'm turning my pages too quickly. And it inspired lots of comment, which was really good. I guess a lot of people sort of said, or a couple of people said they didn't really like Chagall's artwork. He wasn't that sort of quote-unquote good an artist, but I think that for me he does, and somebody did comment this, make this comment as well, that he does have a real gift at conveying emotion, conveying strong emotion, and I think that that's the art that I'm always drawn to. So, and the quote is, "Art must be an expression of love, or it is nothing." And I thought that's true. For me it's true, because the whole gears of the universe run on love. Like, love is the source of all energy and all life. So, and this one, just Mother's Day flowers. These were very special because they were Mother's Day flowers from my son and my son's girlfriend. This one, I could swing it around. This was like a failed painting, but that's okay. I feel like that's what sketchbooks are for. Sketchbooks are, if nothing else, they are a safe space to explore composition and just explore things. And anyway, these were two paintings of old masters, which I've just copied and loosely followed, just because I think to be honest, I was kind of feeling uninspired and I just wanted something to work from. So that was a Degas painting, pastel painting, and this one, I think that is another, actually yeah it is, it's a Chagall painting of his wife, so it's very different to the original version, obviously, so I just used it loosely. Now, you can remember this one. this was a card that I pulled out of a deck, Saints and Angels by Doreen Virtue. So this was Hildegard of Bingen, and there was a beautiful illustration on the card, and I don't remember the message in the card, but that was based on the illustration. And this one is a fairy tale. I was looking at fairy tales again, which I do from time to time. This was, now I'm trying to think the name of the story, I can't remember it, but I did love the picture. I didn't do it justice, but once again it just goes, it's just showing me all the different things that I've been interested in over the course of the year. And this was just before my dad got sick. He was wanting to organise a trip to Hungary because he's Hungarian and he's never been there before, and he wanted to visit to Hungary and go for a river cruise, and he wanted, you know, all the family to go as well. And so I looked into Hungarian costumes, Hungarian landscapes. This is an old photo of my grandfather and my grandmother that I was just playing around with. It's very loose, as you can see, but you know, it's funny, these two little paintings, they're very, very kind of loose, but I like the quality of them, and I like the colours, and I like the emotion behind them. And that was done in May, end of May. I've got a big break here between pictures. This would have been in Medina, not far from where I live, just at a park. And probably if you've been following my channel, you know that I went through a period, which I still am keeping up with when I can, of painting outside, so trying to cultivate that habit of painting outside. And some of these I started outside and then I finished them when I get home, or I've created in this sketchbook, because it's a little bit bigger, I've created a painting based on my smaller sketchbook. So, and this is another one, would have been a picture from the internet probably that I changed a little bit, a Hungarian village. This one has a dreamlike quality as well, I think because of the sky. Got a feeling of loneliness really in this one. This one I remember was a picture that I didn't like, and I went over the top of it with some paint and just kept the bits that I did like, which these were the Neocolor crayons and a little bit of art liner, which I don't know how I managed to put that over the top. Probably it was an old art liner that I didn't mind ruining. This is just Mum and Dad's backyard. They've got some beautiful ceramics that Mum has done over the years, and I love this one. Haven't done him justice at all, but he's a donkey and he's got two little side containers that are meant for plants, and I think he's lovely. And this one was based on a fairy tale and based on studies I did a few years ago, based on the work of Kay Nielsen, and his fairy tale illustrations to me are second to none. And every now and again I go back to him. And I think I remember enjoying painting this because I remember feeling like it was really working. Like, one thing I learnt from Kay Nielsen's work is just doing that wash underneath of all the different greens, and then just the decorative flowers over the top. So it's very folk art inspired as well, just with the marks. They're quite sort of similar. But yeah, it's not too busy. It's working, even though there's a lot of patterns and mark making in there, which is what I always like when I can do that, when I can make something very heavy with patterns but not too busy. So yeah, I was really happy with that. Okay, so here we are, old photos again. The Farrington girls, this is my grandmother's sisters. So my grandmother there, and she had 3 sisters, and it was a very captivating old photo. And I loved painting that, and I actually quite like it. I quite like it. This was a butcher bird who came and visited us just while Dad was not well, and he still comes and visits us. He's kind of like a pet. Comes and hangs around with us. And that was done with the Neo colours and Jo Sonja. So those 2 mediums are ones that I use very frequently. And this was another old photo. That's my great-grandmother, and I'm not sure who that is. And that would be my great auntie. I think her name is Alice. And I really like how that turned out. It's another one of Mum and Dad's backyard when they had some oranges on the tree. That one is another one with, it looks like I've used pencil, a bit of paint, and a bit of the crayon as well. This one, I've done a lot of drawings of this. So this, about 5-minute walk from Mum and Dad's place is a duck pond, and it's so fun. Like, there's usually ducks and there's egrets, and it's so great. It's such a good little spot to draw. It's because there's not usually that many people there. It's not too far for my dog to walk because he's quite elderly now. And yeah, when the weather gets a little bit cooler, it's nice, or you know, late in the afternoon if I've got energy. And this one, I think I started it, and it took me a while. I decided I'll paint it in properly, in earnest, and I quite like it because I think that pathway works. I think, I mean, I did use a lot of heavy art liner, you know, black, which probably it didn't need, but yeah, it's a really nice one. I think I'm working on a painting based on some of these little ones where I've gone out for, you know, around Mandurah, around the estuary and things like that. So I think it would be good for me to paint some more of these and on bigger surfaces. So it's nice to have it in my sketchbook. This is one of my favourites. I really, really like this. This is, so it's another interior, obviously. This is at Mum and Dad's house. This is their flower arrangement that Mum puts on the table all the time. Piano in the background. It's all, none of it's really to scale, but it's all just focusing on the things that I'm interested in and drawn to. And this was from a magazine. I just was looking at, now trying to remember, it's like a women's weekly, but it's like an old, as if we were living in the 50s. So it's got all of the old movie stars in it, like Audrey Hepburn and Ingrid Bergman. So this was actually an old photo taken from a movie, and I thought I'd have a go at painting that, and I really, really like how that turned out as well. And this one, a lot of mark making in this one. It's based on a magazine, a picture in a magazine, and I sort of embellished it a little bit with the dog and just the different things, like the field of flowers in the background. Sorry, my microphone's making a bit of noise. Hopefully this will be okay. yeah, so I had fun with that one. You can see I've done a lot of scratching into the paint, and I've gone over the top of it with my crayons, which is always good. And it's nice with these because there's no rings in it, you can work, you know, landscape or portrait, whatever you want. Here's another Father's Day flowers. So this was on Father's Day, and I liked how this one turned out as well. It makes me think I should go through, you know, paint lots of flowers again. But yeah, so once again, just, yeah, Jo Sonja's and the crayons, which seems to work really nicely. I think that's another one. I was on a roll. And that was my birthday flowers. So not quite as successful as the one before in my opinion, but yeah. It was the same idea as using the crayons and the paint. And this was another picture from that magazine that I told you about, the Vintage Women's Weekly. Another scene from a movie. This is different. Alright, so here, I think revisiting George MacDonald. So George MacDonald's Tales of at the Back of the North Wind. So it's about a little boy who becomes ill. He basically dies, and the north wind is like the chill that kind of personified that comes upon him, and she's personified to the extent that she takes him on adventures, but he eventually dies. But the person who illustrates George MacDonald's work, he's quite famous, and I will think of the name, and I'll see if I can leave it in the comments, because yeah, his work is very inspiring as well. So it is that idea of painting from fairy tales again. And this one was just a sort of imaginative picture based on the piano in Mum and Dad's place. I put a rug under it and changed quite a few things, and put somebody dancing. It's always good, and I do like that. I do like that a lot. So this one is of my grandmother, an old photo, and I've used a lot of crayon in this, but I think it quite works. I don't think I liked it at first, but looking back at it, I think I like it a lot. So this would have been after Dad passed, and this is my dad. Doesn't look like him, and my son Jordan, and both of them have gone. And that was just so sweet, this photo, because yeah, he was so good with all his grandkids. This one is just down at the estuary. It's pretty boring, really. There wasn't much happening. A few boats. I didn't manage to capture any of the birds, but I like some of these marks along the water. And this is loosely based on the interior of Mum and Dad's house, and I think I was just bored and wanting to draw something, do something. So, but yeah, I feel like interiors are a lot of fun. Okay, this one's another sort of where I got inspiration initially from a magazine, a photo, and then I changed it quite a bit. So I used the figure and the rug. I changed the pattern on the rug, and I changed the background quite a lot. And once again, it's yeah, the Jo Sonja paint and crayon. And this one is a scene from, now I think it's not Indonesia, it's rural southern Asia. I'm trying to remember whether it was Vietnam. So all of the houses, and I just love the mountains in the background, and I think that I chose this photo because I loved the photo. So whether I did it justice or not, but I really loved the photo. I loved it just had this feeling of mystery, like, you know, when you're traveling to a different place and it just feels really, you know, like you appreciate every turn in the road because it's all new and you don't know what to expect, and you're so attentive to the landscape because it's so different from the landscape at home. I think that's what I really liked about it. And I love all these sort of grey greens around here, and all the greys. And this one I think is Prague. So I'm looking at landscapes from different countries, and I can see that I was overwhelmed with the amount of information here, so I'm trying to sort of just block it in, which creates sort of a patchworky effect, because I didn't want to get too bogged down with details, and I quite like it. And this one, I filmed the process of this. I was going to upload it, but then I don't know, I guess the time that it was, I didn't have the bandwidth to put anything up, and I didn't really like the end result. So there it is, but you know, it's not very successful in my opinion. It just feels a bit, I don't know. I do quite like some of this mark making here though. Like, I like all of that, you know, with the fine liner. And we're back to dreams again, and I don't have a date on this. Oh well. So, I mean, the way I've done it is Jo Sonja acrylic paint and crayon, and you can see I've used pencil underneath, and there's a bit of a wash over the top of it with white, you can see, with those little dots. And I really wasn't concerned about technique. I really just wanted to get across the dream. So I think that idea of preparing a meal, and both the characters are dream characters. And so I know that in Jungian analysis, when you do dream work, it's very important, after you explore the archetypes and what the associations that you have to the different symbols that have come up, to either write about it or do a drawing about it, and that sort of makes it more real, I guess, in your mind, what you've done. It helps you to digest it all. And so I know that that's what I was doing here, and so I've written things out about it, but I dream so prolifically it becomes hard to keep up with sometimes, all the different symbols. So I've learnt that I've just got to trust that they are going to come forward. What I need to know is going to come forward, and that I don't have to stress about dream recall, because I'm lucky in that I'm fairly confident that I can recall dreams when I set my mind to it. And this one is another one based on 2 photos. I would have had, I think that's Prague, some buildings from, you know, Prague, and that was from my vintage magazine. So I loved all the clothes and things like that. And that's very expressive, all of the different marks. Okay, moving on, we've got the duck pond again, no date. And I do like all the different greens, and managed to get a few little ducks. There's lots of ducks in there now. So I think I just wanted to get the information down, because this is another place where there's so much that you could focus on. This is a, what are they called again? A poinsettia that was dying in the pot. Not sure how I feel about this bright green, but. And this was another one from the Vintage magazine. Don't find it, I don't know, I feel like it's clunky. I don't like all the lines. I did that was with, I just was set loose with Texter, and they're the paint pens. So I don't know. Maybe, you know, I've used them before to good effect, but yeah, not on this one. And this one is an old photo that I painted this from an old photo, and I really like it. So it would have been in Nassau, my auntie and a friend, and I didn't get the likeness at all, but I just wanted to get the overall. But I really like this. I like it a lot. I like the marks and I like the composition. And I think this was around Christmas. Yeah, this was early in December, and I started painting pictures of Mary. So that was sort of like Mary in different places, sort of the idea of Mary being everywhere as well, that we become, because we are basically just, as Mary said yes, I guess, to the call to be the mother of Jesus. We all say yes. In that way, we've got that in common. Like Mary is like the church personified, or the believers personified, I guess. So there's a real poetic sense with Mary, that she reflects our own relationship to God. So I guess I was sort of wanting to really let that sink into my heart over Christmas. And I have no idea. I've got no idea about that one. Sorry. Must have just been playing. But which is great, which is what sketchbooks are for. So once again, just Jo Sonja's and crayon. Yeah, I'm revisiting this again. I don't know why. So this was based on another painting I did years ago. I was just looking at it, and I painted it. It would have been of Albany. There's Mary again. So that was middle of December. And there she is. I quite like that. I like her little face. And that's gold paint. And this one, I really love the marks here. I love all of that. All of those marks. Yeah, I really like that one. This was the last time Dad went to hospital. We took a photo of the street, and there was like a double rainbow, and I painted the picture based on that, and I really like the way it turned out. It's got a lot of energy. This one is, I'm not sure, but I've used a lot of ink, I think, in there. That's ink. And just with that sort of dark forest. I think this was mostly from my imagination. And that's the end, that's the last page. So I just wanted to do a little bit of an experimental mark making on the last page, so that the first and the last page had something on them. But that is it. That is most 2024, like between April and December. Thanks for watching, if you watched this far.